Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. My name is Olivia Song, Solutions Architect Evangelist on Amazon Selling Partner API team. Today I have a webinar for you all on a big topic, MWS to SPAPI migration for private developers. This is a quick but packed agenda for today. If you feel like you need to come back because we have a lot of information that we're sharing, this will be recorded and uploaded to our YouTube channel, so don't worry about it. Lots of stuff today. Cool. So Amazon Marketplace Web Service is a web service API that allows Amazon sellers to programmatically exchange data between their business and Amazon to enable selling automation. This helps sellers grow their business and increase in selling efficiency, reduce labor requirements, and improve response time to customers. The Selling Partner API, also known as SPAPI, is a REST-based API that is a replacement to MWS that has the same automation capabilities as MWS and allows for greater data security and controls among new other features that MWS does not offer. So why is this happening? Because MWS will no longer be available for use after March 31st, 2024. This has been publicly announced migration due dates for both public app developers as well as private app developers. So I would like to start off with a poll question for everyone on the line. If we can pop up our first poll question, how familiar is everyone with SPAPI? If you've never heard of it, that's totally fine. That's what you're here for. If you're already using SPAPI, I'll be very impressed. We'll give like maybe 10 seconds for people to get in their quick polls. Our polls are still coming in. Still coming in. And last 5 seconds. 2, 3. Okay, I think we're ready to share the results. Oh, wow, look at that. Okay, we have a lot of people that have heard of it and as well as look into documentation. Very proud of you, everyone. Let's continue on. Slide. Okay. So let's take a trip down the memory lane. While the exact date is not known, MWS was created around 20 years ago. With the launch of SPAPI in 2020, we began plans to deprecate MWS. To start, we began migration of the public developer population, and we have actually already begun our communication efforts to the remaining private developers, hopefully you guys, as of July 2022, when we publicly announced the MWS end of life date and private developer migration due dates. And by 2024, MWS will be deprecated. These are some milestone dates for private developers we announced back in July 2022. Note that merchant fulfillment, orders, and reports are due by August 31st, 2023. All the other MWS sections, including products, will be due March 31st, 2024. So this means that once past these dates, you won't be able to access the MWS endpoints, like actually. And by August 31st, 2023, the use of restricted data token will be enforced. And we will be talking about this more in detail in the later slides. Migration options. There's 2 ways to migrate from MWS to SPAPI. You can always browse our Selling Partner App Store to find apps that have already migrated to best fit your use case. I'll be showing a quick tour around our App Store in our next slide. If you have the technical resources and powerhouse available, you can most certainly do the heavy lifting yourself, but there will always be option 1 available if you think it's too much work. Let's do a quick tour around this. Where's my mouse? Okay, so this is Seller Central. I'm sure everyone's familiar with this. Go to Apps and Services and Selling Partner App Store. You can explore different categories, as you can see, product listing, inventory and shipping, whatever fits your need. And also recommended apps. And you can search by keyword. I used listings, for example, to start, and you can see all the apps that comes up with associated keyword. And you can also select the program supported if you support any of these programs. And I'm trying another keyword called inventory, and you'll see. So think of this as like any other app store, and you're just browsing for apps that will help you in your use case. And that's it. That was a quick tour of our app store. This is a very rough example migration end-to-end lifecycle if you're to go with option 2 DIY. So please see this as it may not be applicable to everyone, but the purpose of this table is to help you plan your migration accordingly by giving you kind of like a point of reference. So with registration, if you decide to create a new account for SPAPI, take this into account. You want to read documentation, you want to pick a selling account, and apply for necessary roles you will need by modifying developer profile. And we'll be talking about roles in our next slides as well. Configuration will be like creating SPAPI app, understanding AWS IAM, and configuring IAM resources, and self-authorizing your app, of course. There's sandbox and implementation. This is really up to you in terms of estimated time because it really depends on your use case and which API you will be implementing. You can also try calling our sandbox endpoint after successful self-authorization. And these will give you like the mock responses that will help you give you an idea of what the actual calls look like. Testing, this really depends on you and the app that you're trying to create. And then last but not least, big day, the launch date. Make sure that your calls are going through our SPAPI endpoints. Hopefully this will give you an idea and estimate so you can start planning your migration much earlier. Now let's check out the mappings between MWS and SPAPI. This table is available in our documentation website, so no need to take a screenshot or panic. Take a look carefully at the products API from MWS. This has been separated out into 3 different APIs. Another one to make a note of is the recommendation API has been deprecated in SPAPI, and there are a few name changes such as subscriptions API to notification. So why SPAPI? The Selling Partner App Store treats data as risk-compliant resources that can be accessed and modified via standard HTTP methods. By contrast, MWS exposes data using operations that are specific to MWS. SPAPI authorization leverages LWA, Login with Amazon, which is an Amazon's implementation of OAuth 2.0. This model eliminates the need for manual exchange of auth token as required by MWS. With MWS, Selling Partners authorize developers. With Selling Partner API, Selling Partners authorizes application. So using SPAPI, developers can create multiple applications that require varying levels of access to Selling Partner data. SPAPI provides a finer grained data access control than MWS. Developers can request access to only data that they need, and Selling Partner can grant permissions at the API section, the operation, or data resource level. And now I'll be handing over to Mina, my colleague, who's on the line with me, to go through specific changes in MWS to SPAPI. But before we do that, I'm going to kick off a second poll question while we do our little transition. How many have you already started the migration work? If you haven't done any, I'm glad you guys are here today. If your app is already migrated, super proud of you. Alrighty, I'm gonna be going off camera. Mina, feel free to come on camera. Do a little sound check if you want. Waiting for the last bit of the polls the votes to come in. Give last 5 seconds. Okay, I think we are pretty good. Let's see the results. Oh, wow. Okay, we have a good distribution everywhere. I'm worried that I haven't done anything. So glad you guys are here. And Mina will take you through the specifics now.
Thanks, Olivia. Hello, everyone. This is Meena. I'm a solutions architect with the Amazon Selling Partner API team as well. And now we're going to look closer into roles in SP API that Olivia mentioned before. So roles. So what are roles? Roles is a mechanism used by selling partner APIs to determine whether a developer or application has access to an operation or resource. As a developer, you must request and qualify for a particular role to access the operations and resources grouped under that role. And then roles protect access to sensitive data. It also limits data access to ensure developers only access data that is required for an application. And then finally, we have restricted roles that are used to access sensitive information. To qualify for restricted roles, you will be required to provide additional information about your use of the data and your security controls. So we're going to take a look at restricted data tokens next. In general, login with Amazon, also known as LWA access token, authorizes your application to take certain actions on behalf of a selling partner. So this is used in general to access SP API and should be included in calls to all operations except restricted operations. So we will see how the LWA works more in the demo. As for the restricted data tokens, also known as RDTs, it's a short-lived access token that authorizes calls to restricted operations. So this goes hand in hand with the restricted roles that we just saw in the previous slide. Once you have that required restricted role to either call the restricted operations or get the restricted report type, then you need to get the restricted data tokens. Tokens API is the one that is used to get the RDT. So how this really works is like you see in the diagram there. First, you would use the LWA access token to call the tokens API, which returns RDT in the response. Then this RDT is used as an access token to call the restricted operation or to get the restricted reports. So you can refer to tokens API use case guide for more information and tutorial. So next we have, we're going to take a closer look at the three sections that's up for migration this year. First one is Merchant Fulfillment API. So this API helps you build application that lets sellers purchase shipping for non-prime and prime orders using Amazon's buy shipping services. So as such, there are no notable changes between MWS and SP API. All operations supported in MWS exist in SP API as well. The main operations include, get eligible shipping services, get additional seller inputs, create shipment, get shipment, and cancel shipment, as you see here. And then, you can check the status of all APIs using SP API Health Dashboard. And then from the roles perspective, you would require direct-to-consumer shipping role to access all MFN operations. And get shipment, create shipment, and cancel shipment are restricted operations since it returns PII data. So next, we will see the second of the three that's due for migration, which is the Orders API. So Orders API helps you programmatically retrieve order information. These APIs let you develop fast, flexible custom applications in areas like order synchronization, order research, and demand-based decision support tools. So the main operations to get multiple order, single order, and order item remains the same between MWS and SP API. In addition, we have new operations now to get buyer info, address, and update shipment status. We also have regulated orders now. Amazon classifies some products as regulated to comply with local regulations and to support providing a broader selection of regulated items to customers. Because orders that contain regulated items must be validated by skilled professionals before shipment, customers are required to provide additional information or upload prescriptions when they complete the purchase. So some examples of regulated items is like pet pharmacy, eye contact lenses, prescription glasses, and so on. We have a separate user guide for this and also tutorial on how to work with regulated orders. And as you see here, there are 4 operations supported. From the roles perspective, you would need direct-to-consumer shipping restricted role for accessing PII information and regulated orders. For non-restrictive operations, you can use inventory and order tracking role. Please take a look at the roles guide for more details. Next, the last one of the 3 that's due for migration is the Reports API. Using Reports API, you can get reports from Amazon to help selling partners manage their business. This API provides reports for a variety of use cases, including monitoring inventory, tracking orders for fulfillment, tracking returns, and so on. So when compared to MWS, report operations are very similar here. You can request or schedule request for reports. Reports are delivered in a secure manner using pre-signed URL in SP API. The get report document operation provides the information required for retrieving a report document's contents, which includes the pre-signed URL for the report document, and also optionally the compression algorithm used if the report document contents have been compressed. So apart from that, from the roles perspective, it depends really on the report type. Restricted reports require restricted access. So that's the 3 sections that's up for migration this year again. Next, quickly to look at authorization. So authorization is covered in different ways for public and private app. If you're using a third-party public app, you would have to consent to the app accessing data in the consent page. If you're developing your own private app, you can self-authorize your app. So we will see the self-authorization piece, in detail in the demo that's coming up. Okay, now it's time for our poll question. Have you subscribed to our SP API Developer University YouTube channel? Yes, no? I'd really love to know your input. So let's give a few more seconds. This is not all that hard, probably a very easy one. So, okay, I think it's coming in just the last few seconds before we can see the results. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we have 24% yes, and a lot of yous have said no. So yeah, I mean, please go ahead and do, the subscription now. We have a lot of excited content out there, and then this webinar recording will also be posted there. We have a lot of contents in pipeline as well. So please, do subscribe to our channel to get more updates. Okay, now we are off to the demo. So we are now going to see a demo on how to create a private SP API app, self-authorize, and then make sandbox calls to SP API, sandbox endpoints. Okay, so let's start by signing into Seller Central and then go to Partner Network. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so go to Partner Network, develop apps, and then on the Developer Central page, so the first step is to create or review the developer profile. We are going to view the profile because we already have one. In the data access section, you can choose the roles that is required for your application. Restricted roles, like we mentioned before, is used to work with sensitive information. Like we saw earlier, then the use case and the security controls here, will be populated based on your selection. Fill up the form appropriately and then click on register when you're ready. So the developer support team will evaluate your request and reply to your support case after their review is complete. This process typically takes a few days. Okay, so now that the registration is complete, the next step is to create a private selling partner API app. We will click on add new app client, and in here, give it a name. Choose SP API as the API type. This populates the rest of the form. Then, we would go ahead and paste the IAM role ARN. And then, select the roles required for the SP API app. Note that the roles displayed here is based on what was selected on the profile earlier. Select appropriately, and then when you're done, do save and exit. Okay, so now we have actually created a draft selling partner API application. Let's self-authorize the app. So click on authorize, and then on the authorize application page, you can authorize, choose to authorize any of the selling partner account that you want your application to access. So when you click on the authorize app, LWA, that is the login with Amazon refresh token, will appear. And then if you want to authorize your application to access a different selling partner account, you can choose sign in at the bottom of the page like you see. And then, this is the global app functionality that helps to link multiple selling partner accounts. Now that we have the LWA refresh token, next step is to get the LWA access token that we discussed earlier, and then connect the selling partner API and make a sample API call. Let's see how this can be done in Postman now. Yeah, we're going to Postman, and then first we're going to generate LWA access token using the refresh token that we got. So we will use the LWA auth endpoint, like you see here. And grant type that we are going to use here is refresh token with, the refresh token that we generated just now. Client ID, client secret, everything from the app. Okay, so when we pass this on, we get the LWA access token. This is valid for an hour, and this access token can now be used to call any SP API operation, except restricted operations, of course. And SP API provides static sandbox endpoints that can be used for testing. So let's make a call to one of the sandbox endpoints to make sure our app is working as expected. So what we have here is get marketplace participations. That's the sandbox that we're going to call, sandbox endpoint, and we're going to use the access token that we just got. Hey, we got a successful response. So we have successfully created a private selling partner API app and did a sample API call using Postman. That's the end of the demo. Hope you found that useful. Thank you, and back to Olivia for sharing more resources.
Thanks, Veena. Thanks for the demo. I hope everyone enjoyed the demo and all the details into the SP API. Now I'll talk about some resources to help you out through this migration journey. So these are some resources that are available for you guys. Within our documentation, we have a specific tab called Migration Hub. This is where you can check all the deadlines, all the announcements that are coming in. And we also have linked tutorials, specific documentation links as well. So this is like your go-to place. And we also have developer support best practices. If you haven't checked out our developer hub yet, we have created a specific best practices, how you can best get help from our developer support team. And aside from that, we have Selling Partner API blog. If you have checked it out, awesome. This is where we post all our tutorials, best practices, all sorts of good stuff. We also have API forum on GitHub. If you checked out our GitHub discussions, you're very familiar with it. And lastly, we have our Developer University YouTube channel. I've seen in the polls that a lot of you haven't subscribed yet, so make sure to go hit that subscribe button when you get a chance. So I want to do our final poll question of the webinar, which is how confident now do you feel on the migration after, all the things that me and Veena delivered? Would like to see If you're still confused, if you're not sure, lost, or you're ready to get started, or you're just going to resort to, selling partner app store, which is totally fine too. And polls are coming in. Last few votes. Okay, I think we are good to share the result. Let's see. You're ready to get started. Wow, that's awesome. So glad to hear that. Before I let you guys go, definitely want to make sure to best equip you on how to request for help. Definitely throughout this migration journey, you'll be stuck. You'll run into roadblocks. This is where you can go, developer.amazonservices.com. If you haven't checked it out, we have a beautiful landing page refreshed from last year, and there's a specific section on support where you can create a case with our developer support team. Go to the next slide. And when you're requesting for help and when you're writing your case, definitely put it in a format where you follow specific steps, put the request, put the response, attach them all so that our developer support team can best assist you in a timely manner. Obviously, if you just say, I tried everything, but it's not working, we don't know what's not working. So best to provide us with everything you have so that we can assist you faster. Cool. I think we will end it here. Thank you everyone so much for joining. Please check us out at Developer Hub, as well as our YouTube channel where this webinar will be posted. And please don't forget to fill out the post-webinar survey. Thanks for joining. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye for now.